we've taken our quiz, and we're going to look at Arnold and Troy for a moment. And here we are. We're happy to be at Cyrus and Kim's house tonight. You could probably tell on the DVD that we're at a different venue. And so we're glad to be here, settling into softer chairs tonight. All right, so we are looking at other sentence types, additional sentence types on page 186, and he lists several of them. And I'll assume that you've read through this, and if you have any questions, stop me. We won't spend a ton of time on it. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. He talks about interrogative sentences. Obviously, those are questions, and there are certain particles that are used to mark an interrogative. Although you can have an interrogative with no particle, you just have to know by context that it's a question. But there is the interrogative hey that we've seen, and even the word eam is used in interrogatives. And then letter C there gives you a list of particles that can be associated with interrogative clauses or sentences, and most of them used as examples on the bottom of page 187. Sometimes an interrogative marker can also mark an exclamatory, which you can see near the top of page 188. I certainly revealed myself to the house of your fathers. But then there are oath sentences, and this is interesting to keep in mind. If you are reading an oath, it might be hard to understand what's going on if you don't remember this. The term eam in oaths, the term key in oaths, it's somewhat idiomatic and different from English, so you've got to keep that in mind if you're looking at an oath sentence. Then we have wish sentences. Something like a command, but milder than a command. The most common means of expressing a desire in Biblical Hebrew is through the use of volitional verbs. So something like an imperative. You can use a participle C down below. You can use a participle or prepositional phrase for a volitional sentence. Interesting to note on 191, existential sentences. That means sentences that affirm or deny the existence of something. For past or future time, a form of the verb haya expresses existence, verb of being. B, for present time, the verb haya is not used. Interesting to keep that in mind. Rather, the particle of existence, yesh, there is how we translate that, is used. This particle is not negated, so you won't have lo yesh. Instead, you would have the word ayin. So something in the present time is expressed, the absence of something in the present time is expressed by the particle ayin. So that's kind of important, somewhat idiomatic to Hebrew as well. Negative sentences, typically verbal clauses are negated by lo, although all is used with the imperfect as a functional equivalent to a negated imperative or the other volitional verbs. So here, for Adam, we'll see this tonight, for Adam, there was not found a helper corresponding to him or suitable to him. Do not be afraid of them. So also remember, lo can sometimes mark out a permanent negation, and all can mark out a situational or temporary negation. Nominal clauses are typically negated by ain, although low can also negate nominal clauses. Do you remember what a nominal clause is?
That's where the verb is implied, isn't it?
Yeah, we have to supply the verb, exactly. So if you're going to negate one of those, you typically use aim. All right, and finally, and very importantly, elliptical clauses and sentences. We've seen this over and over. There are often things that are left out and implied in Hebrew sentences, just like English. Substances are often omitted in comparisons. He makes my feet like hinds. Feet, but feet isn't in it. Pronouns are often omitted when their antecedents are clear from the context, primarily in two situations. As a subject of a non-finite verb, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived, and he was standing by the camels in the wall. At the well. All right, see, certain expressions of quantitative measure, such as day, month, or year, are omitted on exactly the 10th of the 7th month. You don't say the 10th day of the 7th month. Yeah, you have to say that. Necessarily. So those are elliptical sentences and clauses. Ellipsis also occurs frequently with negatives. No, my daughters, is Yahweh in our midst, or not in our midst. So things that are obvious are not repeated all the time. And we do that same exact thing in English. All right, any questions on that section? Pretty quick section, no?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look at our reading in Joshua. And if I'm not mistaken, we start at chapter 2, verse 17, and go to the end of the chapter.
Anybody need that stamp?
What kind of stamp?
Virgin Mary stamp?
You know,
Give it to Colby.
Can you say Hail Mary to the stamp? Does that count?
I can't say that any time today I was thinking I need a Virgin Mary stamp.
It's got a little baby Jesus.
Well, now a Virgin stamp with the baby Jesus on it, but that,
It's a different thing.
that's a different thing.
I like both of the socks.
Are you talking about a postage stamp?
Yes.
Ooh, that sounds like getting ready for Christmas.
I kind of like it.
Cool. Well, you can use it kind of as a lapel thing.
Yes, I guess I can.
Well, as long as we don't get distracted, we'll be all right.
Little microdot in there.
Not a chance of that happening.
Not in this
No, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. You said 17, but weren't we closer to verse 21 or something?
I don't think we're any closer to it.
Oh.
Okay, well, it looks like Adam's up. Oh, all right. Not the biblical Adam. I don't mean that. I mean,
Not that you're not biblical.
not that Adam is unbiblical, but it's just non-biblical.
All right. We'll see what happens.
All right, let's do.
And they said, let's see.
To her. That's right.
The free men. Look at the outline.
Look at the out-knock, dude.
There we go. The men said to her.
All right, again, that's typical word order in Hebrew, right? To have the subject after. All right.
Yeah, I got messed up because the subject being after the object.
Right.
We are free.
Yes.
I guess that's from to swear.
Yeah.
Is it
We'll make it a noun. Oath. Maybe?
this oath which
Whose oath is it?
our oath?
No.
Your oath.
Yes. This oath of yours, you might say, or you might say, the oath to you, or something like that. Well, I like this oath of yours.
This oath of yours?
I mean, they swore the oath, but she came up with it.
Okay.
Remember?
Which we swore to you.
Well, let's look at a little parsing there. What's going to be the vocabulary word here?
Shava.
Okay. So, how do you explain the rest of it?
The ta is second person feminine singular. So, and then the new is the one CS ending.
Okay. Well, it's a pronominal suffix, isn't it?
Pronominal suffix.
Yeah. All right. And what did you do with the hey on the front of that?
Hint a little louder, Cyrus. Good feel.
That's right. So now how are you going to translate that?
Was sworn to you by us.
Causation.
You caused us to swear.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
All right. You want to keep going?
Not really, actually. I got through Genesis this week, but I didn't have a chance to look at the Joshua one.
Well, the Joshua's going to come back to you anyway. I mean, you can do it in another day.
Behold. Yeah, I got that. Trying to figure out how to put it together. We entering in the land. Maybe when we enter the land or something like that.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So, cord, thread, scarlet.
Tikva.
Cord.
Yeah. Okay. So, a cord of scarlet thread, you might say.
Okay.
This one, in fact.
Yeah, this one. It's the kashar that I don't know.
You should bind. I think I'd like to take that as adjussive, actually.
So you should bind this scarlet cord of thread in the window. Which
This is from you.
It's kind of like that oath she made them swear.
So which you lowered us?
Yeah, you caused us to go down, so you lowered us would be a fine translation.
Okay.
And here's the opposite of ellipsis, sort of, because you have in it, and that's not really necessary, at least in English, is it?
Mm-hmm. And your fathers and
Probably only one of them.
my bad. Your father and your mother and your brother.
Probably more than one of them.
Brothers and all the house of your father. Gather to your house.
Yeah, the house of your father shall gather to you.
To you, your house.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's a direct. There's a directive, hey, to your in the article, to gather to you at your house. Or to say to gather to you or house or something. Gather with you at your house would probably be the best. Or find a way to do it. Okay. Now we have the scarlet thread. You ever hear about the scarlet thread in Rahab's house? Out the window? That brought redemption to her family. And some people think that the scarlet thread is a type of the blood of Christ. Now, it's never identified in the Bible as a type. So you have to know whether you believe that we're only going to talk about types that are identified by the Bible as types. Or are you willing to talk about types that seem to follow the pattern of types but are never called types in the Bible? For example, the animals that God killed after Adam and Eve sinned to make clothes of skin for them. Was that a prototype of sacrifice, or the very first sacrifice? Or a type or picture of sacrifice, and ultimately a type of the sacrifice of Christ?
Or of atonement.
Or of atonement? Or was it just he made them clothes out of animal skins, they lasted longer? Personally, I don't think it's a coincidence that something died. You may even see it as dying in their place, because remember, God said, the day you eat of this, you will surely die. And could it have been that those animals died in their place? The Bible never identifies that as a type of sacrifice or the type of Christ. But it seems to me it fits a pattern. And I think you have to prove it from the text. You can't just say, oh, this seems really good.
Or it'll preach easily.
Yeah. I mean, that's one evidence from the text, is that the text does say, in the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. And then they don't die, the animals do. But also in that context, you have some, you have the proto-evangelium, in Genesis 3, speaking of the cross. And so we're already, in some sense, looking, even in Genesis 3, toward the cross. So my view is, and in fact, I was just talking to Dr. House and Dr. Rutland about this. I don't know if they were playing devil's advocate with me or giving their own view, but I think I'm a little more comfortable looking at things as types when the Bible doesn't identify them as types as they would be. Once you understand how types work, you can find evidence in the text that that's what's happening. I think you clearly can with that sacrifice in Genesis. Then I don't have a problem calling it a type. So one of the so-called abuses of typology that is brought up typically, no pun intended, is the scarlet cord of Rahab. Because some people go crazy with types and claim, well, that's a type of the blood of Christ.
Because it's scarlet?
Because it's scarlet. And because it leads to the redemption of her family.
Isn't that kind of woman also called a scarlet woman?
Well, in our culture, or in more modern Western culture, I didn't find any evidence of that word, that scarlet word, and I just did a cursory look. I didn't find any evidence of that word being associated with prostitution. Because we think of the red light district or whatever. And that's possible, I suppose, but I didn't find any evidence of it.
The red light district is not necessarily so much. It means that red doesn't come from. It's in reference to light more than it's in reference to the prostitution.
Yeah, well, I mean, prostitutes, I guess, use red light to mark themselves out. But what I did find was something very interesting about the scarlet word. And it's used,